Let's bring back Dr. Ben Carson. Doctor, again, we appreciate your time here on America's Forum.
My pleasure.
Dr. Carson, do you share Secretary Burwell's rosy assessment, especially after what transpired last year?
Well, no, of course not. She is accurate in saying that, there are tens of thousands of people who are signing up, but I wonder how many of those people would sign up if they had another good alternative. Basically, what they're doing is creating a situation where people have fewer and fewer options. And ultimately, everybody gets funneled into one massive plan. And what we should be doing is offering some very excellent alternatives. I've been talking to a number of people around the country, both in Congress and outside of Congress, and there are some very, very excellent proposals. And I think you'll be seeing those. I really think that those need to be talked about in a big way and made quite public, certainly before any talk about defunding or repealing Obamacare.
Well,
and when you put something out there, it needs to be something that people want, something that people actually understand, not something that you have to force people into. That's not the way America was supposed to work.
Well, Dr. Carson, the GOP-controlled Congress, some of them have promised to look into repealing Obamacare. Do you think that's a good idea?
I don't think it's a good idea until you have put out the good alternatives.
Okay, so you're saying you wouldn't repeal unless you have another option, which you said there are several other options. Do you think it's likely that could even happen? That they could actually repeal Obamacare?
Oh, I think they could, but you have to play this strategically. You have to put something out there that people can see, they can understand. You have to have a website that works. And when people see a very good alternative that costs them less, that actually allows them to control their own health care along with their health care providers, and doesn't create a two-tiered system where some people are desired and some people are not, I think they will flock to it.
Dr. Carson, Obamacare features the word Obama. He remains president of the United States. A whole lot of people are weighing in on his leadership style, or perhaps the lack thereof. Former Secretary of State Condoleezza Rice had something to say. Let's take a listen, then I'd like to get your comments on what Dr. Rice perceived.
What we're seeing is that when the United States steps back and speaks softly, nobody listens. Americans also don't like the world that they get when the United States is not deeply engaged and deeply involved. And so I think the American people are ready. I think the world is ready for stronger American leadership.
But I totally agree that there is a responsibility that goes with being the pinnacle nation in the world. You can't just sort of sit in the back of the bus and try to direct things. And it's sort of like having a third-grade classroom with no teacher. All kinds of squabbles break out.
So what are the things that you're considering? You said you're considering the idea.
Well, I want to be as sure as possible that, the American people want me to do that. I don't want to insinuate myself into a situation where I'm not wanted. Now, I know that there are millions of people who do want me to do it, and there's a big movement, but I need to be pretty sure that that is a persistent feeling over the course of time. And that's why we have, primaries. That's why we have, interviews. That's why we have the ability to vet people. And everybody gets an opportunity to actually put their ideals out there. And then the people who are at the pinnacle of power in this nation will then make a decision about what kind of representation do they want. Do they want representation by seasoned political people who want to maintain, the status quo? or are they looking for something different? All of these things obviously will be important.
And we will have to leave it right there. Dr. Carson, we do thank you for your time. And remember, you can get your copy of Dr. Ben Carson's New York Times #1 best-selling book, One Nation, by going to newsmax.com/Ben for a free copy.